Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Jigsaw discussion video. Today we're going to be talking about Jigsaw 2 and Eleanor's character at the end of the first film, because even though this isn't something I really thought much of the first time I watched this movie, or the second time I watched this movie, or the third, heck, even the fourth time I watched this movie, now that we know we're going to be getting a ninth film sooner rather than later, and with the success of Jigsaw, it's possible that they're going to be continuing this story with these characters. I've made it very clear on this channel before that I want to see these characters and their story progress. But with that being said, I think it does open up the question now more than ever, who picked up Eleanor at the end of Jigsaw? I mean, this could be something simple. She was just escaping the barn, and this was just someone who happened to buy on the nearby road who ends up picking her up and taking her back to civilization, where she can act as Logan's alibi, making him seem like not the Jigsaw killer, and thus giving Logan enough time to clean up all the mess or something when inevitably the police go back to the barn to try to figure out everything that happened. Logan has his story, Halloran's is completely gone, and everyone suspects Halloran the same way that they did at the very end of the film as the Jigsaw apprentice and the person who's going to pick up the games. And then we have a character dynamic between Eleanor, Logan, and even Detective Hunt's character. To me, the first couple times I watched the ending of this movie, that was the easiest answer here. Like, that's exactly what they were doing. That's how they were setting it up. But the more I go back and watch this scene, or this movie in particular, there's something about this scene that shows me that it isn't just someone showing up, just some passerby who is seemingly near the barn who's going to take her back to civilization. I think that the person in that car is going to have some importance or something to bring to the future sequels, if there is going to be one, which hopefully, given all the new news, yes, there is going to be. So with this video, I wanted to talk about some of the guesses as to who picked up Eleanor in the car. Some really easy choices and also some ridiculous choices. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first one I think is the easiest choice would probably be Detective Hunt's character. He was a pretty big person in the last film, and one of the last things we saw him do was try to track down where Halloran went. Obviously, we know Halloran ended up at the barn, so it's possible that he had figured out where Halloran was, and he was just going to the barn, and he ended up picking up Eleanor. And they go to the barn, maybe they can find Logan, and he can explain that he survived a trap or something, and that Halloran actually ran away. That way, the entirety of the police force will believe that Halloran is in fact the new Jigsaw apprentice or Jigsaw killer, a copycat, whatever they want to call him, and start a manhunt for him in the future sequels. That way, it would be kind of cool to continue on this franchise with these three characters, one of which would be Eleanor, maybe a little on the fence as to what actually transpired in the barn after she left, because maybe she's not so willing to believe Logan anymore as much as she was a couple of days or even hours prior, after he so seemingly got out of a trap and Halloran just simply escaped. It didn't seem like that when she was there. Maybe she's a little bit weary, especially with all of her knowledge Jigsaw. Maybe she starts suspecting him, and maybe through that, Detective Hunt starts expecting him as well. That would be kind of cool. The next one I think is also really plausible, is just simply it's Logan. I mean, I understand during this scene when they showed her being picked up, we see Logan talking to Halloran. It's supposed to be going on at the same time, or at least that's what we're led to believe. But as I said, there is some kind of a sense in Eleanor's face during that scene that would indicate that she's not expecting the person driving this car to be the person that she expected to be saved by, or to even be in this area. Yes, that could be Detective Hunt, but what if it's a Logan? This series always plays around with time. This could potentially be the thing that happens at the very end of the movie. They're just playing it here to reaffirm that yes, Eleanor was in the barn, now she's escaped and she's going to be saved and brought back to civilization by someone. But what happens if that's Logan? Well, a lot of people, myself included, would really like to see Eleanor and Logan's characters' relationship kind of bond. I mean, we know that Eleanor is somewhat of a Jigsaw fanboy. Maybe she would be willing to see Logan as he truly is and actually want to become his apprentice or disciple of him, that way being a little bit closer to the Jigsaw disciple, something like that. This could be our stepping point for a future sequel in that direction, and it would make it pretty easy to go that direction considering everything that just happened. Another thing that this would allow them to do is simply move away from what are they going to do with the barn, or what are they going to do with Detective Halloran being dead at the barn, because once she gets back to civilization, Eleanor is going to tell people about the barn and they're going to go check it out. I don't know if Logan is planning on putting Halloran as a suspect and maybe he fled or something. He's the new Jigsaw killer, whatever it actually was. He is going to have to figure out a way to clean up the mess that he made with the laser trap that we saw at the end of the film. And maybe this would be the easiest way. He takes her, he explains the situation, maybe she's sympathetic, maybe not, and we can see these characters interact with that knowledge in future movies. I think that that would be really cool. Of course, there are crazier explanations as to who this actually is. It could potentially, and I mean seriously, potentially be Dr. Gordon who picks her up. I know a lot of people would really like to see Dr. Gordon pick her up at some level, or at least be reintroduced to the series, because there's a lot of questions as to whether or not he's still around, or whether he's actually watching Logan or involved with this at all. It was kind of disappointing for a lot of the fans to not see him in Jigsaw, and it would be great to see him in future sequels. Of course, because she's such a huge fanboy, she probably understands who Dr. Gordon is, that he was involved in some way, especially if they found the bathroom, which is kind of hinted at in Jigsaw, although I am not really 100% on board with that theory. I really don't think that they found the Saw 2 house or the bathroom yet, but considering in her warehouse, Eleanor has the keyhole trap that we saw in Saw 2, and that house was connected to the bathroom, and Hoffman is in there, and yada yada yada, it would at least arguably be interpreted that they found the Saw 2 house, they found the bathroom, if they wanted to go in that direction. So maybe with all that information and all her connection to the dark web, she understands who Dr. Gordon is, whether she knows he's an apprentice or not, or he was simply in a test in some point at the very beginning of all of this, or at least close to the very beginning. Maybe she understands who she's looking at, and they can pick up the story with Dr. Gordon and her in future sequels. I think that would be really cool. There are other really huge wild cards here, one being Hoffman, because a lot of people think that he figured out a way to escape the bathroom. I'm not so sure. I think even though he might have been able to free himself from the chain because he is that brutal of a character, we saw him mutilate his body just to get out of a trap before. He wouldn't be opposed to doing it again, but I think Dr. Gordon locked the bathroom and he probably ended up just staying in there. I don't see him getting out the same way that Eric Matthews did, because as it's pretty clear, Amanda didn't lock the door. He got out and they had their fight in Saw 3. So I don't think it's Hoffman. At the same time, I know a lot of people would like this to be Adam. I don't think it's Adam. I think Adam is also dead in the story, but it would be cool, and it does connect in the same way that the Dr. Gordon thing connects. Obviously, maybe considering her fandom, Eleanor would realize that yes, this is Adam. The guy was in a trap. He became lost. No one ever found him again. And that's a way that we reintroduce the Saw 2 house, the bathroom, and everything else into the series. These are just wild cards, though. I don't think any of that is actually true. Like I said, the only one that I think would be really cool for this is either Detective Hunt or Logan. Those are the most plausible, and both of them establish a completely different story going into the future of the series. So it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing. Of course, this could just be a passerby, someone who takes her to civilization, and that's it, and we'll have to pick up from there. All three of those different directions, and then the other ones just huge wild cards that really throw up a sequel and any potential story that they were building up into craziness, I think. So guys, what are your thoughts on here? Who do you think picked up Eleanor at the end of Jigsaw? Tell me in the comment section below. Don't forget to share this video out to all your friends, like and subscribe, hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real. Hey guys, if you want to talk more about the Saw franchise, The Walking Dead, anime, movies, television, anything really, then you can always go down to the comment section below and share your thoughts and opinions, and I'll be reading them. I'll be getting back to as many of them as possible. But if you want a more direct line with me, then go check me out on Twitter. I am always on Twitter, and so just delighted to talk with you guys, your questions, your thoughts, your speculations about Saw and everything else. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. You see the link there on the screen. It's also in the description section below. Go follow me, and we'll have a nice day. All right, guys. Check y'all later.